Welcome everybody. Well, um, the Savage Patriots are a rare group of people, and we come from a very diverse background.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Even though we at the top look a certain way, we're not completely the same. Even though we look the same, bro and I.
Yeah.
And even though the one at the bottom is white adjacent next to the white adjacent person,
Yes.
So,
we're not
white
all the
adjacent,
same.
white adjacent.
Now we've said some stuff before, and unfortunately, we kind of got proven partially right, and so we're here to brag a little bit, but not brag because it happened, but brag because we're right.
Would you say that we're somewhat prophetic in a sense?
Pathetic, yeah, sure.
Prophetic.
Prophetic, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We are
prophetic.
oracles. The
Or,
oracle.
or we can follow trends,
Yeah.
and we listen to when people say they're capable of something. We say, "Oh, look, they're capable of something." That could be what it really is. But we'll get into it because we're talking about this shooting.
Mm.
Mhm,
And the
mhm,
fact that they
mhm.
can't find him, but they can track Jan 6 people down like, there's no tomorrow, like Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of find that odd.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that as soon as we come back. So don't go nowhere. Jan 6th,
Mm.
America,
America.
a nation in crisis.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Shooting. Okay.
In
A
Maine.
shooting has happened. And the individual that was doing the shooting has been identified. What's his name?
It's Robert Card.
Robert Card,
Hmm.
deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
I find that kind of ironic too. It's gambling.
It's actually funny
Yeah.
because usually when these mass shootings happen, they have three names.
hmm
They always say the middle name with it, but they don't with this guy. And I wonder why that is.
They'll get to it.
You know?
It'll happen.
Or they'll
I
make
know
something
that.
up.
Now, his name might be Robert Deck Cards.
Robert.
Hey,
Card.
maybe it's subliminal. The deck of cards could be
Yeah.
the ace of
Gambling.
spades. Mm.
Mm.
It is a
But
house of cards. And
At the end of the day, call us the oracles.
In any case, we had spoken some time ago. Let me get the exact date. This was back in August. Okay, we'll be playing something for you. In August, we were having a discussion about candidates, and you know, what? Just listen, and you can
Yeah,
decide if
thank
we
you.
were predictive or if we were just lucky. Okay, we're not so predictive that we had names and events, but we had something. So listen.
The only ones that should feed you information. You should not, like Marlon said, you should not go look it up yourself because we're
Mhm.
telling you.
That's a
And
problem.
we're experts, and we heard it from experts and our sources. So listen to us.
What are you doing, dog?
Never
crazy.
listen to them. Ever listen to them.
But that's the way it's going to be. Okay. So
Yeah.
I still stand by my prediction that 2024 is going to be a wash. They'll
Yeah.
find a way to have their state. Now, they won't call this an insurrection, but it's what they're actually going to do. They're actually going to have a coup, but they'll call it no election. But it's going to be the first coup in American history
It's kind of weird
that
seeing it
stupid
myself.
people are going to back because they're too stupid to understand what the
Savage
Democrats are
Patriots
doing.
Inception.
That's right.
Mhm.
Okay, they're going to stage the coup and it's going to go off without a hitch because dumb people will follow dumb people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Stupid hurts.
An unprovoked attack will happen.
Oh yeah, unprovoked.
Provoked, yeah.
Now,
Unprovoked.
now, earlier in that show, if you want to go back and watch exactly context, well, I'll go back and watch. We were talking about the candidates for 2024.
Mm.
And we were saying that, at least I will say for me, I know I was talking about 2024 not happening because they'll try and stage something to either keep people at home or to try and stop people from wanting to go out or to kibosh the whole thing altogether via a coup. We had been speaking about this kind of event happening before the election for the last 4 months.
More than that.
Yep.
We have in stated fact talked about them having some sort of we did mention this, a shooting of some kind. And I said maybe it might even happen around a polling center.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this particular event may not be a link to election because it's a bit early. However, if as a result of this, there is a crackdown to the point where people start to ignore the time frames of election, you get sidetracked. And I think they're also doing it quite apropos to the point where you're watching wars kick off. They need to distract you. It's worked. Because everyone's talking about this shooter. All of a sudden, it's all about the shooter. They can't find him, even though you can track down JSIC people like that. You can track their phone. You can't track his for some reason. You can track everybody by face recognition on cameras for JSIC, but you can't for him.
Oh, I got one.
We also can't find
I got one. They could find a passport from a down aircraft on 9/11. They can find a picture, but they can't find this guy.
Can't find this guy. We just find it weird.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Wait, so these are the same people who can't find an active shooter. They can pinpoint exactly who was at the Capitol on January 6, 2020. But these are also the same people who say, well, I mean, a tiny bag of cocaine found in the White House it disappeared. These are the same guys?
No
Same
idea.
guys?
Yeah, same guys.
That is still one of those things that makes me like, I can't even believe you can look at me straight in the face and say, yeah, we have no idea. The most secure place in the entire US, we have no idea who dropped the cocaine. No idea.
Listen,
no
just
Meanwhile, making it our job to be the American police force.
because there are cameras everywhere doesn't mean the cameras are everywhere. Come on.
Exactly. Just remember, this is the intelligence agency that they hype up. These are the people that we should have believed about weapons of mass destruction. These are the people that we should have believed why we went to war with Iraq. Just think about that. These are the same people that lied to us.
These are also the same people who are telling us that Epstein killed himself.
or the fact that they trafficked to nobody. Not a single person ever was proven to have been trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell or Mr. Epstein. We have no idea who he sold those people to. Not a clue. Not a clue.
Isn't it the same intelligence? These people are the same people that told us that Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated Kennedy by himself.
Yeah. And there were no shooters on the grassy knoll.
None.
Not a single one.
None.
Yeah.
Well, I'm convinced.
I'm so convinced. I trust America.
Okay. So what is the goal of all of this, you might ask yourself? Well, unlike prior regimes and times, they're not taking their time on this one. Because before now, it would take a little bit of marinating for the American public to take it on. But they're not waiting anymore. You want proof that they're not waiting anymore. Listen to the hyena herself. This cackling clown.
That's walking halitosis right there.
This constantly in the praying position mantis. And by praying position, I mean on her knees. That's what I mean. In case people are wondering, I'll make it very clear. Okay.
She got calluses on her knees.
Calluses galore. She got better knees than Mahatma Gandhi. I tell you what.
Blowing on up.
She do have stronger knees than Mahatma Gandhi, man. He had some good knees, but she's man. Hey, and she's part Indian too. So I'm just saying.
Hey, that's your people.
Could there be a connection?
And hey,
that's your people.
So let's see what she has to say, shall we?
Last night, Lewiston became yet another community torn apart by senseless gun violence. Once again, routine gatherings, this time at a bowling alley and a restaurant, have been turned into scenes of horrific carnage. Doug and I mourn for those who were killed. We pray for those who were injured and grieve with so many whose lives are forever changed and impacted by what happened. In our country today, the leading cause of death of American children is gun violence.
Lies.
Cap.
Lies.
Liar.
Right.
Lies.
It's abortion.
Lies.
It does kill more children. Yeah.
What is the leading cause of death in children in the United States of America? It's humans, and it's at the hands of doctors in the abortion clinics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every year, a minimum of 150K children are killed. You don't nearly have a tenth of the percent of that much killed by gun violence in America.
I mean, if
It's
somebody could
actually
just pull up the stats, you know, the Savage Patriots, we come with those receipts. We can show you numbers now for you naysayers out there.
Let's do it this way. I'm just going to, without looking at a single thing, let's just take three different platforms, Baltimore, Chicago, and St. Louis. Okay. If we take and say black or white, gang members are, say, in the region of 7 to 10,000 in population per city. And we know that Chicago ends up with somewhere in the region of 700 to 800 homicides a year. St. Louis and Baltimore end up with somewhere in the region of 6 and 9 respectively. So now we're up to somewhere in the region of 21,000 people dead, right? So if we have that number, and we say the average gang member is around 13 to 18 years old, we can consider them children. On average, you're looking at somewhere in the region of 1,500 people dead every year from gun violence who are children. Let's add another 10,000 on top of that from accidental killings, and add another 5,000 on top of that because of parents killing the children. Let's say our number now lies somewhere in the region of 30,000 children. Okay. That's giving you a very generous number, by the way. 30,000 kids dead from gun violence every year. You are still nowhere near, and mind you, the 100,000+ is only blacks.
Oh, jeez.
Just so you know, the 100,000+ abortion a year, that's just in the black community. That's not including Hispanics or whites. Let's add the Hispanics or whites in there, and you reach to somewhere in the 300,000 deaths per year by the hands of abortion, not gun violence, compared to 30. What's 30? Is that 10%? 30,000 is 10% of 300,000, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a mathematician, but I think I know something about little bit about math. So on a generous day, I've given you 10% of the killings of children are at the hands of gun violence and perpetrated by themselves. About a third, no, 2/3 of that number is by themselves, compared to adults willingly going in to take and snuff the life out of children in the abortion room.
That also doesn't include hands and bludgeoned weapons as well.
Thank you. Right.
And drowning. Drowning's like the most preferred method of women when it comes to children.
There you go. So guns ain't our problem, people. So we just debunked you without even looking at full stats. That's just going on a surface from what we know. I'm sure if we dig deeper, we might find way more bigger numbers than that. So let the cackler continue.
Yeah.
Gun violence has terrorized and traumatized so many of our communities in this country. And let us be clear.
Yeah, be clear.
It does not have to be this way.
You're right.
As our friends in Australia have demonstrated.
Oh, good. Oh, yes. Let's.
And with that, then.
Great example right there. Asking people in Australia how they feel.
Now let's find out what's the crime rate in Australia for guns. Anybody know by chance? Has it actually dropped?
Has it stopped it? That's the key.
Has not stopped, nor has it dropped.
Yeah, it's not going to stop or drop it.
A lot of these people, what they do is they'll say, look at all these other countries. I actually have a tweet too that I said yesterday on the Hooch that was actually pretty good. It was like they're saying is like there's a heart problem, right? In the Americas, like that's what we keep saying is like there's a problem with the culture. That's why people keep dying. And it's like, well, all these other countries don't because they got rid of their guns. I was like, no, their preferred method of violence is stabbing and acid baths. That like it doesn't go away. Violence doesn't go away just because you get rid of the tool. The tool is going to be different. It's just going to be the same sort of violence. And they have massive amounts of stabbings and acid attacks in England and London specifically that we can go down with. We have all types of stabbings in Asia which has a very, very strict gun laws. The same thing that happened in Japan. We had Shinzo Abe was killed with a homemade shotgun.
Yeah,
A homemade shotgun.
And if you look throughout history, you know, when you talk about violence, as Coy stated, violence is never going to go away. Violence has always been here. So before guns, they were killing thousands of people without a weapon, women and children included. So just because you get rid of the weapon, as Coy stated, you're not going to stop the violence, because people will always find a way to commit a heinous act.
Like, and here the other argument is they won't be able to kill as many people all at once. It's like, okay, Nice, France. That's all I gotta say. Like, look at what happened there. Do you remember that a couple of years ago? A jihadi got in a truck and mowed a bunch of people down.
Oh, that's right.
Like 50 people. Yeah. It doesn't matter if somebody wants to do it; they will find a way.
The Christmas market incident.
Yeah, I would honestly prefer guns over being stabbed to death, which is a very violent death, by the way, or getting acid in my face.
That's right.
I mean, it literally went from in London, from what I remember, it went from the gun ban to a knife ban because stabbing instances rose, and then because no knives, you have to exchange your knives for something that's government issued. then criminals started going towards acid, and acid attacks rose. So that's crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen this, like the knife, like drop off boxes in London?
I did. Yeah, I did.
They're hilarious. All right. So this video is actually Morning Joe. I want you to react to this clip because it's hilarious, by the way. So just listen to this asinine stuff.
Rep that veers away from the party on certain things, and I
Take
think it's
that caption
good for
off, will you?
Democrats to have people like Golden, who is more of a populist kind of Democrat rather than a coastal elite like Heilman. But you know, here's the thing:
how would Heilman do in rural Maine?
Who knows what he would do? But eventually, like, reality has to intervene on this stuff. And I know you were, Joe. I was like, I lived by Columbine in '99. You know, maybe in 1999 it makes sense to think, oh, you know, concealed carry weapons, good guy with a gun, right? Like, there are all these different like theories that maybe make sense in 99. That was 24 years ago. Right. And we have all of these shootings. There are no shootings in Japan. We have the new Speaker of the House out there saying, well, this is actually not.
No shootings in Japan. We just completely skip over the fact that Shinzo Abe was assassinated. No, that never happened. Got it.
He didn't get shot.
Guns,
he got
popped. The heart. It's like, well, what do Japanese people not have any problem in their hearts?
Right.
Do we all need to convert.
I mean, he's saying the American heart is so much more corrupt than British hearts, or
yes,
German
it is.
hearts, or French hearts, or Japanese.
Yes. Because we are one of the most depraved countries on earth. We allow every stupid thing that comes to our mind to do. If you look at every other country, they still have a moral compass about them. America's lost theirs. What are you talking about? You have a parade with children in front of naked men. This is the U.S. What are you talking about?
And
of course, their hearts are more depraved than the rest of the countries.
Yeah, having sex in front of children, and that's supposed to be considered normal. Then if you call that out, Marlon, when you call them out for the things that are disgusting, you're called every phobe in the book. That's the problem. America's moral compass has depleted. And this is when you get things like this.
Yep. Keep listening. It gets worse.
It's crazy. And you are right. I mean, I was you know, A+ with the NRA when I served. Still believed, you know, I was glad Heller came down the way it did, that the right to keep and bear arms means the right to keep and bear arms, but it's been taken to such extremes. And I changed my position on a lot of things after Sandy Hook. Yeah. Not just because of Sandy Hook, but because of Aurora, because of Virginia, because of all of the mass shootings that happened then. But as we've been saying this morning, even since then, in the 10 years since, the number of shootings have just exploded. And by the way, here at AR-15s, always the weapon of choice. I'll just say it for crazy people that want to go out and kill humans. The AR-15 was invented.
I wanted to point something out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. There's more of that, but I wanted to point a couple things out on these. Every single one of these that they've mentioned had people that knew that these people were unwell and they needed help. Every single one of them. And the Vegas one, except for Vegas, that is still suspicious as hell. We have no idea why that guy did that.
Yeah.
And how that happened. That's kind of like this situation. I think Vegas in this situation, much closer than any of the other ones. Like the Boulder, Colorado thing, yeah, crazy. Every single one of those, Aurora, crazy. Every single one of them were showing signs that something was wrong, and people around them knew about it. And the system failed every single one of them, especially Sutherland Springs. That one was one that failed. And he's also the one that was stopped with a good guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be a more effective killing machine of human beings in the Vietnam War, because the weapons they were using often would not work effectively. They were too heavy. It's too hard to reload. They often jammed in critical points. So a guy made an AR-15, said it's light, and it's just easy to just slaughter humans at an extraordinarily rapid pace. So that's the AR-15, and I'll tell you, I don't know how long.
As opposed to what?
Okay.
An AK-47, AK-74, like any of those?
Stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. For the people out now, again, I am no gun connoisseur, but I'm not stupid either.
Mm-hmm.
I have handled an AR-15, and it is as heavy as 15 boxes as you may be carrying. That's a Sheila Jackson line. If you missed that, I don't really believe that. I'm just saying that's how stupid they are. And it'll blow a hole in a wall the size of a watermelon, but that's a shotgun. And it'll fire super rapid because that was built for, even though it's one bullet per press. I really don't know how you can assume that it's built for violence.
You're wrong, Marlon. It's a full semi-automatic gun. You gotta recognize that.
Yes, ghost gun with a 30 magazine clip. Yeah.
Full semi-automatic. That's what this gun is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Revolver.
100 rounds in a chamber, like Joe Biden said.
Per millisecond.
And I want that gun that has 100 rounds in the chamber. Where can I get that gun?
I was gonna say, yeah.
100 rounds in the chamber? In the chamber. You know how much 100 rounds weighs in one chamber? That's a heavy gun.
And it's light.
That's a heavy ass gun.
It's light.
Yeah.
It's light. Because the name is Armalite, so it's light. Right?
No,
it doesn't stand for assault rifle?
No.
Oh, wait.
Oh, it stands for Armalite. Oh, wow.
I always thought it stood for automatic rifle.
I was going to say.
So that's what they told me.
Damn.
Man.
I mean, Joe Scarborough said so.
Just like all cleaning products are Windex.
Yeah, Windex.
Like, everything's Windex, man.
Or bleach.
It's like all ammonia products are either bleach
or Windex.
That's it.
Oh, man. Hey, I better stop talking about my hair in the chat.
I noticed that too. It's like ninjas going on.
Y'all better leave my hair alone. This is where my power is at. And it was actually really long. This is
that's pretty much what I wanted to point out.
Talking about my hair.
This is how these people talk about all this stuff. It's like they have this mass concern for people, except that they like all these people dead, and then it's like, yeah, do you know how many people have died at the border this year alone? Trying to cross, like you encourage that every single day. You don't care about kids when they're crossing the border in the heat and drowning.
That's right.
But like, fine. Some people get shot, and you're like, oh man, it's a travesty. It's like, yeah, it's a travesty no matter what. But you encourage one and denounce the other. The same thing with the Israel-Hamas concept, right? Civilians dying is civilians dying regardless. I don't like either one of those things. Same thing with abortion. Sorry.
When it comes to like gun violence in America, daily gun violence. This happens, and Marlon talked about it earlier. This happens just about daily in these inner cities. Yep. Where's that same energy when this is happening in Chicago? They don't really put the hype in it like they're doing with this.
Yeah.
Then you have to ask yourself why, because it's all sensationalism, right? Mm-hmm. They don't care if it's happening to inner city people. They only care for their agenda. Who gets shot? Where are they getting shot at? That's all that matters. Sensationalism. But if people really thought about it, this is happening every single day. We just don't hear about it.
The governor in Maine is a Democrat.
Of course.
No,
Maine's been blue for a while. Just FYI. Now this is their actual laws. Okay, Gun laws overview is that do you need a permit to purchase rifles or shotguns? No. Handguns? No. Do you need to register your firearms? No. Do you need licensing? No. Do you need a permit? No. Is there a castle doctrine? It's enacted.
Yep.
Right to carry confidentially provisions. Right to carry in restaurants, partial ban. Right to carry laws altogether, no permit required. Right to carry prosody and recognition, conditional. And the right to keep and bear arms, state constitutional provisions with provisions. Now, as with a federal gun rule, mental illness, drug use and convictions, and felonies, you cannot own one regardless of your state. Now, my question is this. If this man really did have a mental problem, which of course now they're saying, because trust me, they're saying it because they're trying to tell you that even with a mental illness, you can still get a gun, which will entitle people to say we need more gun laws. I don't know how that works, but that's what they're going to push for. If he did have it, whose fault is it that he still owned a gun? Is it his or is it the state? And if it is a state, who's running the state? It's the Democrats. So again, I want to know.
I mean, that makes sense.
How does it make sense that it's a gun problem? I want to know. Anybody? No, nobody. Is it still a felony to own a gun if you're a felon?
Yeah.
Is it? That's universal, right? Last time I checked. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
And so there's still gun laws everywhere. Okay, good. So my other question is, what would prevent somebody from getting access to a gun illegally?
Nothing. As long as you got the money and the means, you can do it still.
It happens every day.
Well, so you're telling me then that gun laws don't really stop gun violence if you have an intent to do gun violence at all.
And it never will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure.
So this is something I wanted to bring up, and I wanted people to remember. You remember the autonomous zone there in Seattle? The CHOP?
Chaz.
So
Chop.
yeah, you know how I know the left doesn't care about gun violence is that 2 black kids were killed in that zone by an AK-47, and they said nothing.
No.
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
I think I remember that.
For 2 reasons. You know why, right? It was during the
Summer of Love.
The Summer of Love, and there were black kids.
Yeah.
This is the left. Okay, this is the left. They will care if a police officer killed someone black, but if they kill someone black, it's either justified or don't look here.
16
I'm just
and 14.
saying it's true.
The 16-year-old died, and the 14-year-old, they were hanging out in the car, and this leftist with a assault weapon, as they would say, shot him and killed him. Filled the car full of holes, by the way. Not just like a little bit, not like a little shot. They shot it up like it was a hit, right? And so their selective outrage when it comes to violence is amazing to me because it was happening during the George Floyd riots. So everything's fine because they took over entire city blocks, but that's fine if they were armed and they killed people. That's totally fine.
Totally fine.
Totally fine.
Look, at the end of the day, people should be aware that this has nothing to do with the souls lost, like at all.
Yeah.
None of this. The people, if you notice, they're harping a lot on finding the gunman, the gun, the laws around the gun. How could this happen? And not a single conversation about the people that were actually ended.
Yeah,
because like I said, they don't care about who, they care about the amount. They care about the amount, and they care to push the circumstance, and they care to push the method. They don't care about the people.
That's right.
Which is why they won't care about gang violence, because it does not need to be spoken about. That's because of systematic racism. So that's where that falls under. It has nothing to do with the guns. They're doing that because they're poor and black. Now, if it spills into a white man's world, now then is where you have to start having laws put in. Oh, okay.
That's the same reason why the gun laws in California got passed, is because when the Black Panthers showed up with guns at the Capitol, they're like, whoop, we can't have that.
Yeah. I remember reading
California.
Yeah, that was California.
What's this?
Jay Lee, this is all you.
Yeah, so this is just a graph of numbers of the weapons used in these mass shootings.
Mm-hmm.
So the
look at
first
that.
column there, you see the number of handguns used, and then the number of incidents used within those handguns. Notice where rifle numbers lie between handgun and rifles.
Yeah.
Kind
It's
of
also
weird.
between the years of 1982 and 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
All
you know
that time.
you know those facts, man. They're just
They're pesky, aren't they?
and this is what these people like that cackling hyena
And Joe
Kamala,
Scarborough.
they expect us to be stupid. They don't think there's Americans out there or citizens, whoever, are actually going to look up the real numbers. They just throw something out there, and a lot of the monkeys out there would just clap like they did and believe everything that's coming out of her mouth. Instead of doing your own research, she lied to your face about gun violence in our country. But here you are, because they pulled on the heartstrings, agreeing with her instead of saying, wait, that's not right what you just said.
Yep.
The number one cause of death when it comes to guns isn't AR-15s, it's handguns. And what is the difference between a semi-automatic handgun and a semi-automatic rifle? The projectile. They do the same thing. One trigger pull, one round. It's just the type. And actually, an AR-15 round is a smaller caliber than a 45 in a pistol.
No, it has a bigger number. It's a bigger number. Okay,
just the
so it must be bigger.
velocity and the speed of the round. That's about it.
It's because it's a .223. Okay.
That's even bigger. That's 223 grains.
It's larger than a 9mm or 45. Okay.
No, guys, you're getting it all wrong. It's holding it like this versus like this. That's what makes it scary.
And it looks,
and it's black.
You notice the picture of the shooter. They had to get the AR in there with the scope and the magazine hanging out. They were just like, look
but they couldn't get his face clearly. That's weird.
Yeah, they couldn't get the face clear, but they got the, the gun.
Joe mentioned something, and I figured I'd go check because I remember something about the thing that he mentioned, and I thought I clearly remembered this, but I wasn't sure based on what he said if he remembered it. He mentioned one specific shooting. And he said, I remember that one. And I remember, and then right after that, he says, and their weapon of choice has always been the what?
The AR-15.
The AR-15. So I went looking, and I found the weapons at Columbine, because he mentioned Columbine. You know, they like to go to Columbine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Dylan had an Intratec TEC DC-9, a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. Okay. And then he had a 12-gauge double-barreled shotgun. Okay. The only one to have a rifle was Eric. High Point Model 995 carbine rifle. Then he also had a shotgun, sawed off. Where is the AR-15?
They're all AR-15. So these
No. Where is in the description? Because you'd have to hype it up. Where's the AR-15?
It's not there.
Yeah,
it's not there, right?
Well, if you turn the T into an A and
you
the
might
depth
have it
into an R and the what is it? What were the numbers?
995.
That's a lot of math.
If you look at that and you kind of sort of do one of these things and you squint a little bit, you might turn that into a 15.
Well, okay, here's another one. What about this particular shooting here? Let's go to another school one. I'm not going to talk about Sandy Hook. I have a whole other take on Sandy Hook altogether. Virginia Tech. What's the Virginia Tech shooting? What did they use?
No, it was pistols with him, if I remember.
Okay. Well, maybe okay. Because I know Joe mentioned that one too. So
I was thinking of the couple in California that shot up their workplace, and it wasn't AR-15s.
Who?
I don't remember. He mentioned it. It was on the list of places.
And it was AR-15s?
It was not. It was.
Dang.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of what you're telling me is it'll be hard pressed to find an AR-15. Okay, here's my case. I don't believe that what he used was an AR-15 in this one.
No, it's their canopy term, right? It's the
But
AR platform.
But okay, so they haven't found a weapon, right? Or the
No.
guy.
No.
They found the bullet.
They found a weapon in the car that was abandoned.
Was it a AR-15?
They didn't mention.
Oh no,
You know,
then it wasn't. Then it wasn't an AR-15 because
No.
if it was,
they would have had
said
it.
so.
They would have had pictures. They would have laid it out with candles and
Yeah.
flowers and everything around it. But you got to understand that, you know, aftermarket parts for any weapon.
Yeah.
I can take a 22 bolt action rifle. Let's say I can get it after stock or aftermarket stock, and I can make it look like an AR-15.
Look,
you can do
yeah.
that these days.
Yeah.
Look like one.
Look,
They can
But
make it look like-
but is it one?
no, it's
Okay,
still not
good.
one.
So that's the point I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad we went through all of that to say this. The media, when they pick a culprit, they stick to it like 40 going north because they have to inundate the people with a certain term and statements in order for you to start believing it as true.
Yeah.
The same way they kept pushing J6 as an insurrection. They have to keep repeating it so that people have to say, well, it must be because they keep saying it. Or they have to keep saying that, like, remember, this is a good one. Donald Trump said there were good people on both sides. He said there were good people on both sides. He said there were good people on both sides. And they push that so people start repeating it. It's a parroting thing. Tell enough people that an AR-15 is the weapon of choice of shooters. No one bothers to go look and see whether it really was. But that's just the point that they try to make, that it is. No, for real, it is. And then you have idiots like Joe Scarborough, who doesn't even know what a gun does, has never even actually touched one, I bet you. But he knows how to, it's one. It definitely one. Look at Columbine. That's when I knew I had to stop liking the NRA.
Yeah.
Does the NRA sell sawed-off shotguns?
No. Did the NRA pay him to do it? Did the NRA write his manifesto? No, you're just sensationalism.
Yeah.
Hyping it up so people can look at the NRA as this bad entity in our country. And their goal has always been to take the NRA down. We know this.
Yep. So I wanted to bring up the latest kind of story. This came out about 45 minutes ago. This is what they're reporting for
the newest push.
Yeah, the newest push. Yeah.
Let's hear.
People living in parts of Maine remain under a lockdown at this
Which
hour.
has been changed.
Pause right there. What?
Continues for
Back it up. You can't. Okay, I mean, people like Kevin Hart. Wait a minute. You're not gonna just go for it like he didn't say what you just said. What did you just say?
Yeah. Wait,
People living in parts of Maine remain under a lockdown at this hour.
Okay, right there. Right there. Hold 1 second. Now, again, I don't mean to be the kind of person that pushes something and when it comes through, be happy about it. But listen carefully, because when they say stuff, it's with a purpose. She just said something that I think all of you need to really, really understand. If this happens again, a similar situation in an area or multiple areas around a time when people should be going to do something called voting, they are now setting the precedent for the ability for the government of each state to lock you down for what? Your own safety.
Safety and security.
Okay. Hey, look, I didn't say it. She said it.
But I was
When
also
they
going to
say
add,
it,
like that's old. They have other ones.
Believe
that say
them.
they're not anymore.
Just believe them. Go ahead and tell me about this lockdown, Dark Lady.
As an intensive manhunt continues for a suspect in Wednesday's shooting rampage, police are searching for 40-year-old Robert Card, who you see right there on your screen, after 18
great picture
people
of
were
the guy.
killed at 2 different locations. Investigators say he is a certified
pause.
firearms instructor and
Go
a
back.
member of
Go back a little bit, just to his picture.
Did you hear that last part too?
Yeah, he was a firearm. Now, take a good look at his photo. I want you to really look at that picture of him coming in. Look at it. Then go back to the picture they showed us.
Not
Am
the
I
same
going crazy? But that doesn't
Doesn't
look like the same
guy.
person to me. That
Where's the
doesn't-
part? Where's the part in his hair?
Look at the hairline. I mean, look at that picture. Look at the face.
Okay.
And then look.
Stop 1 second. Stop 1 second.
Okay.
She said he was a firearms instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember the question I asked you before the show started backstage?
Mm-hmm.
He has to have what to do? If you're going to be a firearms instructor, what do you have to have?
Well, you have to
certification.
actually-
Experience.
certification,
A
yeah.
license, right?
Yeah, you have to have
Yeah.
certification. Yep.
He did not and has never had a license for firearm.
That's right.
Never.
Ooh, she lied.
They're liars.
Never. He never had one.
Ooh.
Don't ask me how I know. Just know that from very credible sources,
God, I
he
wanna
did not. Okay, so go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Say he is a certified firearms instructor
Certified.
and a member of the U.S. Army Reserves. Several items belonging to the suspect have been found, suggesting new details on his current condition. Kaylee Schuyler joins us in Lisbon Falls, Maine. And Kaylee, what have you seen out there today?
Tia, well, right now I'm standing by the Androscoggin River where divers were sent into the water today. Investigators say the divers were looking for potential bodies and evidence because this is close to the location where investigators found Card's car after the shooting on Wednesday night. Also joining the search is U.S. Border Patrol agents from an elite tactical unit known as BORTAC. They have recently assisted in several high-profile cases, and just last month they helped find escaped PA murderer Danilo Cavalcante. We know more than 300 officers are involved in this search, and over the last 2 days, officials found a note that the suspect wrote and left behind at one of his homes. Details were not shared about the note, however. Law enforcement sources tell Fox a cell phone belonging to the suspect was found in his home during a search by police, and a gun was found in his car. Officials say they have received more than 530 tips and are urging residents to continue to call in with leads.
Continue with giving us information. So if you see something, please pass it along to us. Any little thing can certainly help. And that's why we're continuing efforts where we're at today, because we're getting tips from people. These tips are what we need to help us do our job. And like I said since the beginning, you know, we really need community support to do our jobs here.
We also continue to learn more about the lives lost in this tragedy. We know a father and his 14-year-old son were killed in the bowling alley, and the manager of the restaurant where the shooting occurred died trying to protect the others inside. Now, that's just 3 of the 18 lives lost, but I'm told by residents in the community that they are grieving every life lost, and they hope that law enforcement finds whoever did this soon.
Why do they keep saying whoever did this if they're like they know who did it? You know what I mean? Like, why are they still like?
You
is
know
he still
why,
a person
right?
of interest, or is he the guy?
Do you know why? Because they don't believe it's him.
Nope.
See, she just let something out the bag. I think most people might slip up and not notice this, but they let something out the bag just then. Whoever did this leaves them room to do whatever they want with the final person they find.
Also,
You see, even if the guy doesn't look like Robert Card, or if it may be him, may not be him, they can always say, well, he kind of looked like him, so now we found whoever did it.
Who did it? Who did
So-
it? Like it's confusing.
my thing is though is how did this guy have time to shoot up a place and then drag bodies into his car to dump into a river?
No. They're talking about him because they're assuming he might have offed himself in the river.
That
is what it is.
That's like,
may have.
hey, look, do you remember that guy that got killed by the Clintons, where he was in the tree and shot himself while he was hanging with a shotgun?
Yeah, it's like he drove to a boat dock, and he may have killed himself there. It's like no, he probably got on a boat,
and this
is what happened. But you're wasting your time looking for bodies in the river. Okay.
I'm just waiting for them to finish writing his manifesto so they can just go ahead and put it out, you know, because they're sitting there.
There was a writer's strike, man. You have to wait.
They're just sitting there. They're just sitting there typing away right now, trying to figure out his manifesto to make it just seem so. In the manifesto, here's what it's going to say. He's a Trump supporter.
Mm-hmm.
He's anti-government. He hates Biden. And it's going to say all the right things to make what they've been doing to make all Trump supporters seem unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
Mark my words, you're going to see they're going to find this manifesto, but they couldn't find that one transgender's manifesto.
Oh, they found it. So they found it.
Oh, they did finally,
and they turned it into the school, and the school said they're not releasing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But this one, they're going to blast all over the place,
bro.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just saying, bro. They're already starting. TikTok bonobos are literally pitting this guy as a Republican.
Yes, they have no idea, but that's what
they
don't
say. Know.
So
they have no idea.
This is the thing for me. It's like I know I do dark humor on a lot of the stuff, so forgive me for that. But here's the serious issue of this. Let's say whoever did this, Robert Card, as they're penning it on him right now. Whoever did this, by the way, whoever it might be, Robert Card, he had a mental health breakdown during the summer. He was institutionalized for 2 weeks. His family, his sister-in-law knew he was hearing voices. Everybody knew this guy was unhinged. His command and the National Guard knew he was threatening to shoot up the place beforehand. There were red flags all over the place that this guy, whoever he might be, Robert Card, as they keep saying, is the guy that shot up these people, right? So you're saying that everything that you want to have happen would never have stopped any of this. It would have never stopped the Sutherland Springs guy either, because he was a felon, got a gun, and still did it too, right? Because of a failure of the system. The system failed this one. Maine has a yellow flag law. They don't have a red flag law. They got a yellow flag law. He fit the description for that yellow flag law. Nobody did anything.
Are we playing soccer now? Are we playing soccer? Yellow card and red cards? What the heck?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows, man? You know, I don't know what dimension we're living in right now, but
age of Aquarius. Apparently, we're in the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, we are in the age of Aquarius, but I want to go back. I'm going to go back to the regular one.
Look, I want off
of this. I want out of this dimension into the next one.
Yeah.
But okay, here's a crazy part of all this, right? The narrative that they want to paint has to be released in very specific timing. Okay. Now, you just heard, I don't know how many of you are aware, but we did a strike in Syria on some Iranian posts. I don't know if y'all guys were aware of that.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
You realize that happened at the same time that the shooting happened. You realize that
related?
No, not of course not. It's accidental.
They're not related. No, it's
accidental.
I mean, you know, the mainstream media would tell us that they're not related. We should
not
just
at all
believe them.
We don't need to know that we're trying to irritate Iran into a war. No.
Yeah.
Look.
And Iran's more than happy to punch us in the face too.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody's backing down.
The government's being helpful.
Just because we did an airstrike in Syria against Iran, and we were talking about sanctioning and all that stuff when all this money sent over, and just because of all that, don't mean that the shooting was to distract you. Just because now 24/7 it's all about the shooting does not mean. Okay, yes, it does. It does mean it's exactly what their plan is. Now, the next phase is when Iran fights back. You're going to hear another leak about the shooting. So this is how it's going to go: bomb strike, shooting. Focus on shooting. Bomb strike. Iran fights back. Manifesto.
Yeah.
Bomb strike against Iran. He's a Republican. Bomb strike to fight back against Iran. He loved Donald Trump and it's an insurrection. Then another bomb strike in America. Hamas.
Yeah.
The pivot.
It's going to be that.
It's going to be like,
all you want, man. Call me crazy all you want. I don't care. Call me whatever you want. I'm an observer. I'm going to go boondocks on you. It's an astute observation.
It's going to be
gay, I say gay.
It's going to be bombing in wherever, Syria. Oh, winter storm in Texas. It's the deep freeze in Texas that's supposed to be coming up. So it's always going to be something. It's always going to be another shiny object to take you off from their tomfoolery and all their sneaking around doing crazy stuff. They know that the Americans don't want to go to war. If they conducted a strike, they know there are a lot of Americans out there upset about that, because we know, like Marlon said, we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to drag us into the war to make money for the military-industrial complex. So let's take their eyes off of that. Hey, cue the shooting. Cue it.
The other thing
and that happens. Now all the Americans, instead of focusing on what's happening, the real threat, to me, the real threat is what's going on in these other countries that could affect us eventually. let's get them focusing on this. So you guys, pay attention to the trends, pay attention to their tactics, because it's pretty obvious these days. And I don't know how people don't see it. I don't know. That's just us.
Or they do.
Another trend that is also getting overshadowed. There's been a lot of Gen Z making anti-draft videos on TikTok and Twitter or X.
Yeah, we talk. Yeah,
anti-draft, saying there's no way I'm getting draft, and it's like, oh man, this is bad. All of the Gen Z are talking about the draft.
Yeah, I think we did that video on the hooch. Yeah, we showed that video on the hooch. But yeah, these Gen Zers are going to go in their little holes and they're going to hide and cry. And us Gen X people are going
pick up the slack.
But everybody got to understand, like this shooting. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This shooting is just a number of things that they have planned to get their end game. Their end game is to disarm the American people. That's the end game. After that, their plan, the Agenda 30, they can continue on with their agenda. As long as the citizens are armed, it's going to be very hard for them to accomplish that. So they're going to do anything and everything. If they have to kill more children, God willing, God, I hope they don't. But if they will kill anybody and everybody to get what they want. And that is the Agenda 30.
Hey, look, listen here. Gen Z is going to win this war on their phones. You see, when the war kicks off, they're going to control all their drones with the app, the phone app, and they'll control it. And they'll fight as though they're playing PUBG. Everybody knows that's how it's going to go. Come on now.
This is actually a new video, Michael. It's not the one we watched on the hooch. It's even better.
Okay, so 5 years of rent-free living, free food, and no responsibilities versus being immediately obliterated by an AK-47 the moment I set foot on that battlefield. And that's if they can catch me, because you think this draft occurs, I'm headed for the hills, baby. I know a place. It has everything I could possibly need except for electricity and cell service, which is going to be perfect because you won't be able to find me. Do I look like somebody who the authorities are going to be chasing after, hunting down because they need me? They need me to grab an assault weapon and go try to save people's lives? Are you kidding me? Talk about a liability. Go find those people who are so pro Second Amendment and wear freaking American flag thongs and all that shit. Go find them. They have a concealed carry anyway. They know what they're doing. They've done the classes. Go find them. You don't want me fighting for this country. I promise you that. And you know it's true. Okay. So
I mean,
5 years.
It's funny.
At least he's self-aware.
At least he's not wrong. I mean,
but sorry to tell you, brother, Don't Ask Don't Tell got repealed.
But didn't they find a suicide letter from this shoot? Or
he sent his son. He sent it to his son.
It was a letter. They never ever specified it was a suicide letter. They found a letter.
Well, this is what they said.
They said,
they said it was. They said it was a suicide letter, but they didn't give you the details of what kind of suicide he was trying to do. Now, here's the problem with all of that. I don't think they found a letter at all.
No.
I mean, whoever it is,
wrote it.
Yeah, and I was telling you, I posted that on TikTok, and somebody commented and said she lives in Maine, in that area, and the local news isn't talking about that at all. You know what I mean? So, when I always talk about stay away from the mainstream, you shouldn't believe anything, and it's hard not to watch it sometimes because it's such a, it's one of those things I can't stop watching. But understand, you have to talk to the locals if you want the truth, not the local news, not anything news related. Talk to the people.
Period.
Listen to the people that are on the ground there, and they're going to tell you the truth. So for her to tell me that means the mainstream media just made that up. We don't know if it's true. They could have just threw that out there just to keep people interested in their story.
You know what this reminds me of too? Do you remember a little shooting from a trans activist not too long ago?
Yeah.
Nashville.
Remember that one? You remember how that wasn't about the gun; it was about the mental health.
Yes. Yeah. I remember.
That's right.
Trans people are being targeted, and she reacted that way, and then dead named her and everything, and it's we don't care about any of that garbage.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah. But he has mental health. No, it's a gun. He's a white male. They don't have mental problems. But you said white people are crazy.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Do white people have mental problems and are crazy, or do they not have mental problems? And I don't know how to keep track of this anymore. The same way I can't keep track of any of their thought processes, I cannot keep track of what they believe anymore. I don't think they can. This is a pretty cut and dry thing to me. I believe it's another distraction from the strike that they did in Iran. The same way they had a distraction when they went over there. The same way Obama had a distraction when he sent that pallet of cash. They always have something else, like Michael keeps saying, that shiny object to bring you out of the truth and out of what's happening into some other phantom realm that they want you to focus on. It's always the same thing. Now, in this case, all they're going to make another push for, and they use it, like they say, never make a good crisis go to waste. You're going to hear the gun control debate come up. You're going to hear the call to ban assault weapons, and you're going to hear this, you're going to hear that, but you're not going to hear, when the news does come out, that this guy was actually a lefty, and he actually was one of those people. The reason why he didn't have a gun permit because he didn't believe in guns. You're going to hear all this stuff later after they get the narrative pushed and stupid people start believing and they get certain laws passed. It's all going to come out later, but you're going to see a second and a tertiary one happen. I'm guaranteeing you this. I called the first one. We called one. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen with this lockdown that she mentioned. She said it. I'm glad she said it before I did. They're going to have another one. It's going to be close to the time. And then they're going to put the whole country on notice. They may even have multiple ones in multiple states, the bigger ones, and say, oh, if it's happening this often, we may have to have a countrywide shutdown. Don't be surprised. Now, remember, people aren't going to close down because of the couth anymore. People have learned from that. But fear of getting shot,
that's easy.
People might give into that one.
Yep. And here's the thing that a lot of people, like, they mentioned the Australia thing. If you have to mandatorily buy back guns, it's a confiscation. If you are mandatory, it is mandatory, like, I don't know, mandatory jibbity jabs. If it's mandatory, then it's not willing. It's not a willing thing. You are being coerced.
And that whole word buyback, what are you buying back?
Oh, you spent money.
If you buy something back, if you're buying it back from me, that means you sold it to me. The government didn't sell you the gun, so it's not a buyback. Like Coy said, it is a confiscation. And then when you look at these buyback programs, you can buy your AR, you can deck it out. With all that you put into it, it'd probably run you about $1,500. If you sold it privately. They're giving you like gift certificates, Amazon gift cards, and all types of stupid stuff. No, if you're going to take my gun, you're going to give me what I bought for it.
Now, there are some ingenious people that have done those like city buybacks or whatever in like Chicago, and they just made fake guns to hand it in, and they had to take them anyway.
I remember that.
Listen carefully.
It together with duct tape and $20, and he gets 300 out of it. That's genius.
They're gonna give you pumpkin spice latte coupons for Starbucks. And people are going to be like, what? I'm going to get my gun turned in.
Starbucks card get you 3
all the white girls out there be like, pumpkin spice and Uggs.
What? Get it.
Basic white girl.
It's just ridiculous to me that people think that any of this is going to actually change anything. It's not.
That's true.
The culture is gone. Like, this didn't happen 50 years ago, period. No. It just didn't happen. Like, this was an unheard of thing until mostly recently in the last 30 plus years.
The pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah. So you can take unless you're willing to repeal the Second Amendment, guns are not going to go away, period. It's a stupid stupid argument unless you're actually going to be honest with the American people and say, hey, we just want to get rid of the Second Amendment. Then do that. Try to do an amendment, like a proper freaking legislative body, and make the law that way. Don't just keep trying to make it weasel around the wording. Like, be honest.
Well,
man-made laws aren't laws.
And then stay away from the stuff that you can't touch, which is the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Shall not be
and stay away from the things you can't touch, like the First Amendment. The First Amendment does not have any kind of clauses in there that dictate I can't talk to you a certain way. I can talk to you anyhow I want. I don't care if you're a government official. In fact, I can talk to you worse than anybody else because you're a government official.
That's right.
You can't do a dang thing about it, too.
Just like calling a cop any sort of swear word isn't illegal. It's doing other things that they'll get you on instead. You can say what you want, but they'll just get you with something else.
They're crazy people. In any case, insane people need to be put where they need. I saw someone say, bring back asylums. I agree. Bring back the assigned asylums. I say bring one back like the one that Batman had.
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. Arkham Asylum. Geez. We need an Arkham Asylum.
Put him behind the glass wall.
I mean, you're not wrong, because like all the people that have had these mental breakdowns that are just been released onto the streets ever since we got rid of mental asylums, homelessness has done nothing but increase, and I wonder why that is.
Yeah. It's all planned. All of it.
Yeah. Yeah. In any case, people, we'll be back on Monday. And next Saturday is our Rumble event. I kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about. But I'm still fleshing it out, so I won't tell you guys just yet.
I have an idea.
It has something to do with America's hand in apartheid.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll give you a little bit of a little salt thing. There. So it just know that it has something to do with America's role in apartheid and how the correlation happens. And anyway, I'll flesh it out then. But I think that's where I'm feeding myself to right now.
Okay, I got one. It just came to me. I'm going to talk about the pyramids.
There you go.
And the true purpose of the pyramids back in the ancient times.
Yeah.
Deals with electricity and all this stuff. You know, how they knew all that technology.
So they're not mausoleums?
Yeah. It goes a lot deeper than that. These people weren't cavemen and ancient idiots like, you know, our government and our history books tell us. They actually knew a lot. So, yeah.
Egyptian
we're going to go deep. So pay attention. The pyramids.
And the Sphinx are older than the actual Egyptian civilization. They were there before the Egyptians came.
Thanks. Yeah.
Sphincters.
This will be on at 6:00 Central Standard Time on Sunday. So
y'all tune in.
I don't have a topic yet, but I will soon. So.
Is orange a good alternative for milk?
We don't have a topic. Damn it.
Yeah, Coy.
We. I'm sorry. I haven't been sleeping a lot lately.
Liar. White people always get enough sleep. It's your privilege.
I wish. I wish.
Hey, I'm just trying to blend in with the rest of society. Okay, you got to blame white people for everything.
That's
we'll be catching up with you guys in the following week. Please have a grand rest on your weekend. Relax. In fact, what you need to do. This is what you really need to do. You need to go to our YouTube page and order you a T-shirt so you can start triggering people. That's one.
Yes.
And secondly, you need to go and grab as many videos as you can and plaster them all over your social media accounts. That's what we really need you to do. If you're not doing that, why are you even here? I'm just kidding. If you're not doing that, you know, that's the easiest thing. It's like so simple to do. We're not even asking you to go market for us. We'll do that ourselves. We just need you to get the word out. That's a simple request.
Very easy.
Very easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So please do that for us. Mr. Lee?
Like, share, comment, subscribe. That's the way you spread the word. And we will see y'all Monday.
Peace.